And like I said, today's topic is curb the urge to splurge. All right, can you all see my PowerPoint screen pulled up? Hopefully so. I think we have it going. Awesome. I see a thumbs up from Molly, so we will jump right in. So today we're going to be looking at a few things. We're going to try to identify some holiday marketing strategies. So what we see out there that's most common, what's grabbing our attention, and how we're losing our money really to these industry created ideas of marketing. We're also going to spend some time defining our holiday goals, identifying holiday needs and wants, creating a plan for holiday spending, and then we're going to review some consequences of overspending. So when we overspend during the holiday season, how does that affect us truly through the rest of the year? So before we jump in, one fun fact that really surprised me today, according to USA Today, the average American will spend nearly $1,050 on holiday gifts, goodies, and travel this year alone. So that's a lot of money when we think about the entire holiday season. And this is usually about during the time of around Thanksgiving to the start of the next year. So in our photo here, what are they marketing? What do the holiday commercials tell us about the holiday season? In the chat, I'll give you just a second. What do you think they're trying to sell here in our photo? So what are they trying to market? Yes, the perfect Christmas experience. Everything has to be perfect, which, as we all know, not everything's going to be perfect. There's always going to be those bumps in the road. Yes, holiday decorations. They're showing us like what we want to imagine as the perfect holiday season. But even with these best decorations or, like the best products out there, there's still going to be things and mishaps happen. Or even thinking about paying the price of purchasing everything in either of these pictures. Exactly. So marketing really plays a big role in our purchases during the holiday season. So this home, both of these examples, they're clean, they're decorated. There's no decoration left out, right? They have absolutely everything. The theme, it's complete, it's warm, it's cozy, ready for that family event, peaceful. Even if you do not look at this picture and think, I want my house to look like this, you probably get a sense of what you think a holiday home should be or look like. So we might find ourselves feeling a little even intimidated by these photos. And marketing is all about moving us to that place of feeling like that the visual is intimate. So we're wanting to recreate this mood or this feeling that we get when we look at these ads. So it's so important during the holiday season to appreciate the small things. So children are a great example of this. Children display a wonderment of the holiday season. So the child we have in the photo, it's a great example of that perfect angelic way of thinking. There's no whining or tears, which often happens around the holiday season. Exhausted kids with wild hopes of iPods, computers, Wii's, the Xbox is out there. There's a new PlayStation. So we can't always afford all those options. So thinking about the simple things this holiday season. So those things that can still create wonderment without being so expensive. So we have two steps really to get us ready for this holiday season. So no matter what you're hoping for, it's time to get ready and make a plan now. So today is December 1st. So this is the perfect time to decide what's important to you and really make a plan for your time, energy, and money. So make something that's realistic. On the next slide, I'm going to show you all an example of a budget. But with, only a few weeks to go till Christmas or the holiday season, it's so important to have this plan and be ahead of the game. So thinking about how much can you afford to spend on the holiday this year. So maybe there's been some changes recently to your income. So take those things into account. When it comes to time, how much time do you need to spend on holiday shopping, crafting, decorating, preparing maybe for your small gathering? So make a list of your time obligations. If you work, you may need to plan with a friend to make cookies for a day or decorate with, family members. So it's not that everything's on you. And be careful not to overdo it on the amount of energy that you're applying to your holiday season. So thinking about, simpler is sometimes better. If it takes you 3 hours to get the lights on the tree and everyone puts up an ornament, everyone is excited to be a part of that occasion. So plan out your events, plan out your decorating, things that you have as tasks on your list, involve others in the experience. So once you're down to the point of ready to, make a plan for how you spend your money this holiday season, I want you to think about setting a budget and then cutting that budget by 30% and then sticking to it. If need be, you have the option, you can freeze your credit cards. The joke is to freeze them in ice so you can't get to them at the time of the holiday season. Um, and we're going to discuss a few other options that are simpler than freezing your cards in your freezer. But using the envelope system and creating that budget is really going to help you in the long run. Excuse me, I thought I was going to sneeze there. All right, so this is our example of our holiday spending plan. So on the screen, we have our plan. We call it a plan. You could call it a budget. It's up to you. This specific plan is for the holiday season. So here in Extension, we have a few other budgets that we often hand out for other programs, but this one is created specifically for the holidays. So it's so important before you even, step into whatever it is you're going to be purchasing for the holidays. Think ahead, plan it out, set a budget, and you have control over your purchases. So try not to get caught up in the excitement or the thrill of the holiday season and really focus on what items you truly need versus the wants that you have. All right, one helpful tip is to create a holiday checklist. So I don't know about you all, but there's been a few times in my life where I've gotten to, 2 or 3 days before for us Christmas. That's a holiday that we celebrate. And I've been like, oh no, I forgot so and so. So this is one way of preventing that moment from happening. Create a checklist, write down everyone's name, the gift that you want to give them, and even write a price. So I always add in the price factor because I like to keep things under a certain amount or within a certain range for certain members of my family or friends. So for me, an example of this is my nieces and nephews. I try to spend around the same amount for each of them. So this is one simple tip that you can use. It doesn't have to be this form. It could be just a lined piece of paper and write down the name, the gift, and the amount that you've spent. And then as you go through, if there's someone missing, you're going to be able to recognize that before you get to that last minute of, oh no, I forgot somebody on my list. So ultimately, we have to think about what's important to us during this holiday season. So everything that, the marketing shows us is glamorized. And it's quickly to get caught up in that moment. But we have to set priorities because you can't possibly do everything during the holiday season. So once you set your priorities, let others know what you are planning and really take into account what you value. Others may agree and feel relieved that they can, slack up a bit. At the end of the day, the question really is what's important most to you? So some holiday things like our to-do list that we have. And this is to help you so you don't feel like you're missing certain items of your holiday season. So what activities are important to you and your family? So if someone in the chat will tell me, what are some activities that are important to you? It could be decorating the tree. It could be caroling. All right. We have putting the Christmas lights up, preparing for Christmas service and a party, carols, going to holiday concerts. Exactly. So those are all great suggestions. So those are the things you will want to include on this form. And all the forms that I'm showing you today, I am going to send those out to you in an email so you have them to fill out on your own. But yeah, exactly. It's thinking about, what do I value? What is so important to me that I accomplish this holiday season? A lot of times it's fun to read the suggestions that you all have shared in the chat, because those aren't major expenses, the items that you've listed. So sometimes it's not about how much we're spending on things, but more so, the things that we're spending time with others or making those memories that last. So once you've made your list of your things that are most important to your family or you, you can have the next line to write or track how much you've spent. And then you're also, are you supported in this activity? So is there others involved that are going to help make this a special moment? We also have in the chat making food, having the same food each year, like the same cheese ball and Christmas cookies. Yes, definitely. Yes, we are the same way in my family. So we have like the same recipe for cheese ball. It's the one that, my grandma used, my mom used, and now I'm making that cheese ball recipe. But exactly. So sometimes it's those traditions or the things that, we're doing as a family that really make the most impact. All right, so back to making a plan. Block out time on the calendar for your most important activities, those priority activities. So for you, if it's making Christmas cookies, then make that a priority on your calendar. Go ahead, mark the day out now. We do a candy making day in our family, and I always mark that on my calendar early on. That way I don't schedule anything else for that date. Plan time to get ready for your activities. So not only mark the date of when you're going to maybe make your cheese ball or prepare for your dinner, prepare for caroling, but also plan time to prepare for those activities. And then also include these in your budget. So when I send you all that holiday budget, make sure you're accounting for, your ingredients to make sugar cookies, your cheese ball supplies. If you're maybe purchasing songbooks to go caroling or tickets to events, things like that. Include all of those items in your budget because they are part of those expenses that we have during the holiday season. All right. So it's so good to plan for the unexpected. But food that sits on your shelf uneaten is not a good use of money. So did you wind up picking up something extra this holiday season? Maybe it was extra food, snow boots, new scarf, ornaments, wrapping paper. So those items really wrap up quickly. And they really increase our total, which we don't want for the holiday season. So when we think about we try to convince ourselves the snow's coming, I really need new boots, but could we really find maybe a better deal on boots than what we've spent? Did you spend a few extra dollars on ornaments or Christmas lights that you really didn't need? Wrapping supplies can also add up quickly. So many of us, will have a container of wrapping supplies and we'll be out in the store and we'll see a new one. And this one's cute. I think I need another roll of wrapping paper. So it's so easy for those expenses to add up. So this is a few of those things that we need to watch for. And they do such a great job in stores of trying to entice you to buy these items. A lot of times they'll put them near the checkout. So right before we're done, we're like, oh, maybe I do need that new scarf or that new ornament for my tree. So watch your budget as you shop. Eating out. So while we are shopping, in our scenario here, we were also eating out each time on our shopping trip. So this is an expense that quickly adds up. So if we were to spend money on 3 adult meals, 3 kids meals, or a meal at $10 or 5 snacks even, our total would already be $44.50. So think of ways that you can tongue tie, that you can cut costs while shopping so that you're not eating out. This would be like bringing a snack with you, maybe changing what time of day that you shop to avoid those hours of lunch or supper time. Holiday events. Of course, we're going to go and see that holiday performance. And we're so glad to donate because, we are selfless and we want to give to others. But does it take away from your bottom line and how much you're trying to spend? So, that fundraiser the class decided to do was a good idea. And of course, you buy since, your child or your grandchildren or your neighbor is part of that organization. And you don't want to wear last year's clothes to this year's Christmas event. They might notice in the pictures of all things. So we're going to go shopping as well. So in our total here, we've spent $7 going to our school performance, $15 on fundraisers, and $55 on special clothes. And once again, this is what it boils down to. What you value is how you spend your money. So if you value, those extra fundraisers or going and spending new money on clothes, that's okay. But you have to take that into account when you're setting your holiday budget because the extra things that we do as we're shopping, they do add up and they do affect how we have or how much money we've spent by the end of the Christmas season. So it's super easy by the time that this is all done to reach that $1,050 because, we're adding in little things as we go. So for our total, on those last few slides, we spent an extra $200. So those were those things that we weren't planning on in our budget, but snuck in there. So if I had that on a credit card, and hypothetically, we're going to give us a really high interest rate of 20%. That can cost you nearly $1,000 if it takes up to a year for you to pay that off on a credit card. So that $200 quickly became a large expense. So we are going to move on to our envelope system. So have any of you ever saved all of your receipts from your holiday purchases? Let me know in the chat. Have any of you ever saved your receipts from your holiday purchases? Yes, perfect. I know. Well, this is the time for you. Not all of them. I tried and failed. Well, hey, this is going to be a new method for you then. If you've tried before and it didn't work out or you currently are, awesome. Keep saving your receipts. And when I say your receipt, I mean every last one. So everything from that quick roll of wrapping paper that you grabbed at Dollar General to that extra tray of holiday cookies from the store. So I want you this Christmas season or this holiday season to try to save all of your holiday expenses or your receipts. So if you're purchasing online, print them out. If you don't have a printer, you can go ahead and just write them on your envelope. So the system that we're going to use is our tracking expenses envelope. So just a regular envelope. Save your receipts, stick them inside. If you don't have the receipt, you can go ahead and write it on the envelope. That way you're tracking it. And then at the end of the season or throughout, divide out those expenses. So add up the total for each category and put those on this list. This is going to give you an idea of where you're spending the most money. You may be surprised at the outcome. You may have spent more or less on a certain category. So save this sheet for next year, and you'll be able to set your holiday budget based on how much you spend in each of these categories. Or if you're curious as you go how much you're spending, you don't have to wait till the end of the holiday season. This is something that you can add those totals in maybe halfway through. So maybe you've went on your Christmas shopping trip and now you want to reevaluate. That's great. So use this to reevaluate how much money you've spent so far and then compare that to your budget. So you have an idea of how much money you've spent compared to how much money you were planning to spend. You may wind up spending money on a category and it surprises you. So maybe it is that food away from home that we talked about a few slides ago. So that's one area that we know we can cut back on by eating out less. So next year on your budget, either account for more money to that area if you're comfortable with spending that much money away on food, or if you're wanting to, spend less in that area, narrow down your budget and think of ways or options for spending less. So like we'd said, bring a snack with you or, plan your shopping trips depending on the time of day. So never grocery shop anyways when you're hungry. That is one of the worst things that you can do when shopping. So when you're at the store, before you make a big purchase, or even those small purchases of like ornaments and wrapping paper, I want you to ask yourself the following. Is this purchase really necessary? So do I need this? Did this help me achieve my priority? So thinking back to those values that we have, is this helping towards one of those values, or is this a splurge on the side? How long will this last? So I think of kids' toys in this category. If it's something cheaply made and it's probably only going to last a month or two, then that's really not something that I need to invest in. How long will the joy of this gift last? Is there a less expensive option? If I charge this, how long will it take me to pay it off? And then I love this one. Would I come back tomorrow and buy it again? So if it's something that, catches your eye one day, leave it there, come back the next day, see if you would buy it then. And that's going to give you that idea of like, is this really worth what I would be spending on it? Is it something that I really want? Or is it just, that marketing, the glamorized view of it right now? So a few suggestions to keep costs down. Spend under your limit. So we talked about cutting your budget by 30%. Plan for miscellaneous items, so like fundraisers and items like that. And then once you've purchased those, use them. So if you buy that pie or those bags of rolls or pecans, whatever it is, plan that during your shopping trip. So have those items in mind when you're planning your holiday menu. Look for sale items and use coupons. Consider drawing names in your family or at work so that you're not maybe purchasing something for everyone. Consider starting a Christmas account. So a Christmas or a club account is a type of savings account in which you make deposits throughout the year. So it's not just spending all of that money at once. You have some money saved up for the holiday season. Consider shopping online. And this is from the standpoint that if you shop online, you have better control on what you purchase. So one thing that I often do is I may put a few items in my cart, and then I will go and do another task and come back. And if it's still items that I want to purchase, they're there and I can, or I could take those out of my cart and focusing in on like what I really need, who I need to purchase items for. Have our spending self-checkup. So we talked a few slides ago about your envelope system. So get your envelope out, take your receipts out, put them into the categories and see where you line up right now. Are you really sticking to your budget? Use what you have. So this is a big one. If you have decorations, use what you have, gift wraps, wrapping paper, crafting supplies. Maybe there's gifts that you can regift. And then finally, be aware of those retailer tactics. So we talked a little bit about that earlier, but advertisements truly are meant to get your emotions going so that you will spend the money at the holiday or during the holiday season. So they always have those really sentimental like coffee commercials where you're like, now I really need some Folgers coffee. So watch out for those commercials and things like that. I know even nowadays the chocolate commercials are emotional. And then when you're at the store, consider using the self-checkout instead of going through the line so that you spend less time standing, hopefully, near those last minute items. Make it beautiful. So it's all in the presentation. So sometimes the simplest gifts can be made beautiful with, specialty paper, a wire ribbon. One thing that I love is the brown paper that kids can decorate. Sometimes the gift receiver is more interested than in the paper than the actual gift. You could use fancy yarn to decorate. So it's not always just about what's inside the package, but how it's presented that can make something special. And you can always add a personalized note or something special that denotes that project. A few additional gift ideas for you. Consider things like gift cards. It's easy to set a limit with gift cards. You can make a homemade gift, whether it's a food item or a craft, ornaments. Pictures are a great gift. A basket of items for the family so that you're maybe not spending on each person in that family, but you're buying something that their whole family would use. I like to think of like the family movie night baskets. Those are a lot of fun where they have some bags of popcorn, a cheap DVD, things like that. Gifts that have a story. So maybe there's something that you've been waiting to pass down. So you could give that as a gift to someone in your family or a friend and write this story with it. That can be very meaningful. pictures of the past in a frame, and a picture even with money in it. So if you don't feel like you can just give the picture, you can always have a gift card or some money with that item and feel like you have control over how much you've spent. So this holiday season, really focus on your priorities. So once again, thinking about what you value, make a plan for your spending. So create your spending plan early on. Right now is the perfect time, being December 1st. That way you're prepared for the holiday season. Use what you have. So if you have wrapping paper, if you have gifts that could be regifted, use those up before you buy more, and track your expenses in the envelope. All right, we kind of flew through that. So I am going to send you all a link here. So we have a what do I value quiz. So you don't have to take this right now, but I wanted to go ahead and provide it to all of you so you have it for in the future. But this is a quiz that's going to tell you, what do I value most, what's kind of important to me, and what's not important really at all to me personally. So if you take this quiz, you're going to list them, 1 being not important to me and 3 being most important. And you don't have to do this right now, but I thought I'd explain it. And then we have at the bottom, what do you value most, second most, and third. So you have an idea of overall where it is that you want to spend your money. What's your, what is it that you value the most? And before you go today, I do have a survey for you to complete, if you do not mind. And I will get that link shared here in the chat box. We always love everyone's feedback. Any questions, comments, concerns? She said her husband will love that she watched this. And I will share out in an email the different forms that were on the screen. That way you all have those to fill out. If you start with any of them, start with the budget, complete your budget early on. And then also the envelope system, because it's so easy to just, put those envelopes into, or sorry, put those receipts into your envelope so that you have them for later. All right, well, I will stay on for a few moments more. If anyone has any questions, let me know. I really appreciate all of your participation today. We will have another session next week for anyone that's available to participate. And this is session 3 out of the 4 sessions.